Hello and good almost afternoon, Michigan. I believe it's 11:30 there, and hope everyone is having a great week so far. And we have so many great organizations joining us today. We'll wait another minute or so for more people to join, and hope you are all able to use your Uber Eats and enjoy lunch while watching this. And let me know in the Q&A box what you're ordering for lunch or if you have any plans this spring. And if you weren't able to use the code yet, please feel free to reach out to us. And it should be still good to use until Friday afternoon. If you ever have any issues, you can always reach out to our team. And let's see. All right, someone ordered a burrito. Awesome. Steak salad. I really like the ones at Urban Plates. I believe they have like a chimichurri sauce on it. And someone got a Chipotle bowl. And someone did like a sushi bento box. Awesome. And Mediterranean. So right now it is 8:30 in California. So we're based in San Jose. We're going to be having, I believe it's Dish and Dash. It's like a big chain that's around California. I'm not sure if it's in the state of Michigan, but I feel like it is getting really popular in Mediterranean food in general. Oh, and someone had Greek. They had some, I think it's a gyro bowl. Yes. All right. And before we get started, just wanted to go over some housekeeping. So at the end of this presentation, I'll be following up with an email to provide the HRCI and shroom credits. And if you do have any questions today, I'll do my best to check the Q&A box and get back to you as soon as possible, as these questions will be saved. And I may not be able to address them right away, but hopefully I can give you the answers by the follow-up email. And if you want any further information, feel free to respond to the email I'll be sending with the credits. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and newsletter, and I'll have those links at the end. And we are going to send a recording of this presentation you can share with your colleagues. That'll be sent through Zoom in a few hours. Today, we're going to talk about Michigan nonprofits and unemployment. Before I get started, just wanted to do a quick intro of myself. My name is Janessa Ponko. I'm the Senior Member Development Representative here at 501c Services. I've been in business development for over 10 years, and I've been with 501 since July 2023. And there's a picture of people bowling. It includes me and some of our sales and marketing team members. Heidi is my manager in the middle. You may work with her in the future. And then we have Evan on the right. He helps with our web development and marketing content. I'm really excited to be part of a team that's been helping nonprofits save time and money that can go towards furthering their mission. Again, we're based in San Jose, California. We're in the heart of the Silicon Valley, and we're dedicated to helping nonprofits reduce unemployment expenses. And Thank you again for joining us to learn more about cost-effective strategies and managing unemployment in your state. We're going to provide a broad overview on how unemployment insurance works, alternatives for 501c3 nonprofits when it comes to unemployment, how reimbursing works. Then we're going to use some real-life examples of nonprofits we've helped with our cost analysis, and then finally provide more information on our company 501c services and how many of our Michigan nonprofits have benefited from our services. First of all, I wanted to start off with a little history to put unemployment in perspective. Unemployment started in the US in the 1930s following the Great Depression and New Deal, where the federal government wanted to create a safety net for workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. In between 1930 to 1972, 501c3 organizations didn't pay into unemployment benefits for separate employees. Although this saved them money from paying such taxes, employees that were laid off couldn't reap the benefits of that safety net for-profit companies provided. Now, fast forward to 1972, the federal government changed the law under the Social Security Act, where nonprofits, they must pay into unemployment, but they were given different options in how they pay so that tax wouldn't be seen as an unnecessary expense for them. Unemployment is overseen on the federal level. However, each state gets to manage their own programs, however they choose. So throughout the US, you'll see different taxable wage bases, tax rates, benefit amounts. But today we're just going to cover information here in Michigan. When it comes to management, unemployment rates can be adjusted annually and are adjusted by experience. So let's say you have a year or two of bad claims, your tax rate will increase. Most states, including Michigan, run as a risk pool. So when you're paying state taxes, your organization gains access to a pool of funds to pay for your claims. And we're seeing that a lot of nonprofits are putting more money into that pool than what they're getting back. And these total tax liabilities by employers, they're often greater than the claims paid with reserves used in times of recession. And then the tax liability is calculated by multiplying your taxable wage base by your employer tax rate. So take a guess on what a single claim can cost in the state of Michigan. So feel free to put your answers in the Q&A box. And I have 2,300, 7,700, 6,535, 9,000. And just as a hint, the total cost is looking at the weekly benefit maximum times the maximum number of weeks someone can claim for unemployment. And I believe in 2026, for Michigan, it's 26 weeks. So we have 4,400, 11,200, 12,400, 10,175. So the maximum amount a single person can claim in unemployment in the state of Michigan can cost $13,780. And just as a caveat, this is what an employer is charged for employee benefits by the state. So those extended benefits you saw during the recession and extra COVID payments, they're actually covered by the federal government. The maximum weekly benefit amount in Michigan is, oh, sorry, the maximum weekly benefit for the state of Michigan is $530. When we multiply that number by 26 is how we get that $13,780 for the maximum of what a single person can claim on unemployment. And the federal government sets the wage base at a minimum of $7,000 and there's no maximum. Michigan's taxable wage base is currently set at $9,000, which means for the first $9,000 an employee earns, your organization gets taxed on that. And then the minimum tax rate currently for 2026 is at 0.06%, and then the maximum tax rate is at 12.2%, and those are both set by the state. And the last thing I want to know is the improper payment rate, which is 20.7% in Michigan. This equates to over $433 million in overpayments to former employees who are collecting unemployment from the past 3 years. And we get this information from the Department of Labor. You can see Michigan is one of the many states with the error rate greater than 13%. This is important to know as we really encourage you to look over your claims and make sure that you're not overpaying for anybody's claims. Here at 501c Services, we help organizations monitor this. And if you're managing your claims on your own, you want to make sure that you're properly charged for a former employee's weekly benefit amount. There are three different alternatives for unemployment. One is that you pay that state tax that we mentioned earlier. That includes the tax rate set by the state and taxable wages. Another option is that you can self-insure, reimburse for your unemployment, where you're just paying dollar per dollar for your unemployment claims. So you're basically only paying for the benefits issued compared to paying money into a state pool. And then the last option is kind of a hybrid of both, where you buy insurance that offers the savings of reimbursing while also providing that safety net. Just let you know, reimbursing is not for everyone. The qualifications that we look at for considering reimbursing is that an organization must be a 501(c)(3) nonprofit, and we recommend a gross annual payroll of $1 million or more because typically if your payroll is under a million, especially significantly less than that number, what you're paying into the state tax pool is probably pretty minimal, and you might not see much significant savings by opting out. However, there are some scenarios where we could see potential savings, so we're happy to look at your numbers, even if you're just slightly less than a million. And then we also look at a positive audit from the past 3 years. So that means in order for reimbursing to benefit you, we try to evaluate if what you paid each year in taxes exceeds what you're paying in actual claims. And then we want to make sure that there isn't major disruption in funding for the next 24 months. So we do recommend to stay with the state tax system if you know if you might have anything from layoffs or reduction in workforce, losing funds, or closing programs where your tax rates may go up with experience. And then you'll probably want to wait once those claims decrease. What it means to reimburse is that your tax rate turns to 0%, and then the state will bill you only for the unemployment claims you receive over the quarter. And it's a great way for nonprofits to save money and be a better steward of donor dollars. The process is seamless for separate employees. No matter how your employee is separated, they're still going to go through the same process for your unemployment department, where the state will determine their benefit amount based on their base period pay. The only change is how that quarterly bill is calculated. So instead of paying for that state unemployment insurance tax, you're now only responsible for charges your organization incurs. And we work with over 1,500 nonprofits across the nation, and several of them are in the state of Michigan. So you're probably wondering what motivates them to reimburse. In most cases, reimbursing saves money. On average, savings can be anywhere from 20 to 40% compared to paying into the state tax system. And this is really the driver for most organizations to switch. And reimbursing also eliminates any concern of changes in the state tax, such as those tax hikes that you can't control. You become a better steward of donor dollars as you just pay for your actual claims than putting money into that state pool. Because unemployment is managed by federal government, big picture, reimbursing is allowed in all 50 states, best with employers with over $1 million in payroll and at least 15 or more full-time employees. So if you're on the borderline of that, we can certainly talk. As sometimes there are circumstances where we can consider reimbursing for your organization. And if you are smaller and reimbursing already, we can still consider you for our services and how we can help you reduce the risk that can come typically with like managing claims on your own. And as we mentioned earlier, there are actually different strategies. So there are a couple of different strategies for reimbursing. So the first is to manage your own program, so self-reimbursing. And this can be risky with the highs and lows of unemployment. And you really need to make sure that you have budget for these claims and that your team is diligent with managing, auditing, protesting, and paying claims to reduce the risk and prevent overpaying. And another option is to outsource, like using 501(c) services to help with the administrative work and managing the challenges that can come with unemployment claims. And we also have a trust where you can put money aside for the claims. And then we have the third option is to purchase insurance. And at 501, we do offer insurance programs, but they are a little bit more expensive than the trust, but they do offer different levels of protection. And I do want to talk about how the state tax is calculated. And like I mentioned earlier, I'll show some real cost assessments that we've done in the past. The taxable wage base is customized by each state. So Michigan is currently set at $9,000. All employers in the state pay the same taxable wage base. It represents the first $9,000 of an employee's earnings. There's no maximum and can increase or decrease by any amount each year. And then the tax rate is set annually by the state and is based on experience. To calculate your contribution amount, you multiply the taxable wage base by the tax range. So for Michigan, it's that $9,000 times the 0.06 to 12.2%. This amount means that if each employee makes over $9,000, a company is paying in between $5.4 to $1,098 per employee in unemployment. And what we do to get started on a cost analysis is that we look at your tax rate notice. And this document includes the tax rate that's highlighted at the bottom. So for this example, it's set at 6.76%. And you're also given the last 3 years of benefit charges and taxable payroll. So what we do is we just divide each number by 3 to get this year's benefits and taxable payroll. And then, so in this example, the organization paid around $87,000 in claims and over $180,000 in taxes. So they were overpaying around $93,000. This is a huge number than what we usually see on a assessment but it is a real assessment that we've done in the past. And based on the information that we got, we recommended for this nonprofit to reimburse, and then they did eventually become part of our trust. Also, there's no need to understand every number on this document. We can help you look at those numbers and see where you may have potential savings. And then we have our next 2 examples. They're also going to show other nonprofits with large overpayments, and then they eventually became our members too. So here's an example of a human services nonprofit. The taxable payroll is just shy of $1 million, tax rate 4.7%, estimated claims only around $200 per year. And in this case, we also look at that 3-year average of claims. So they were overpaying $45,000 a year. And think of what you can do with an extra $45,000 for your organization. And here is an PCA that we worked with. The taxable payroll was around $700,000, tax rate 3.38%, estimated annual claims around $5,900, estimated unemployment taxes were around $24,000, so they overpaid around $18,000. And a little bit more about our company, 501c Services. We were founded in 1982 by a former UCP executive, and he was looking at ways to save money for his organization. So he teamed up with 25 nonprofit executives in San Jose, California, to start the first kind of grantor trust called the Joint Unemployment Compensation Trust. It eventually became what is now known as 501c Services, and then our trust is called 501c Agencies Trust. And we have now grown to helping over 3,000 nonprofits in various ways across the nation. In 2016, the founder sold the company back to his employees. So we're now 100% employee owned, from our receptionist to the CEO. Every member is committed to our company and serving our members. And our services are valued tremendously, with our company having over a 98% retention rate. And here are a couple of testimonials our members have shared, and you can go back to these later as I'll send the slides after the presentation. And this is a clip from our 40th anniversary a few years ago. It includes testimonials from Monica Lund and Mike Hoffman from Start Early, Mary Sue and Michael Eady from CISC, Sandy Leota and Chris Marshall of Baltimore Center Stage, and then Phyllis Austin and Jason Penniger of Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
What makes me passionate about working for a non-for-profit organization is because I knew I always wanted to work for a mission-driven organization.
Our mission is to work with immigrant communities so that they can achieve the American dream.
501 helps focus our service to the community by giving us more time.
501 helps us focus on serving our communities by providing services directly to our HR professionals.
The biggest benefit for working with 501 is really the transparency and ability to forecast our costs when it comes to our unemployment benefits.
They also keep our cash flow steady through claims that are sound and take a lot of the admin burden off of us so we can just stay on autopilot.
We're very grateful for all the support you provided over the last 4 decades, and we wish you continued success in the future.
Congratulations, 501, on your 40th anniversary. It's been a pleasure serving with you for the last 24 years.
And like I said earlier, we work with several Michigan nonprofits, and here's a quick snapshot of these members in the state and also other members across the nation. And as you heard them say in the clip, we help nonprofits alleviate the administrative burdens that can come with unemployment. The first way we help nonprofits is through claims management. Our team will help you manage, audit, protest claims. So we offer unlimited access to hearing reps. And in the state of Michigan, we do have a high protest win rate at 89%. And you'll also get a dedicated claims manager once you become a member of the trust. And all of your claims will go through this online portal where you get notified when a claim has been filed. So you'll go into the portal to respond to these questions. And if you ever have to go on PTO or you forget to delegate these kinds of unemployment tasks, it shouldn't be a problem. For when a claim doesn't get responded to in several days, it gets escalated and handled. A big part of our claims management is that our team doesn't want your organization to overpay or get hit by those Michigan error rates. So we can audit those charges for you or prevent you from paying a claim when someone gets terminated. We want to make sure that you're managing these claims and also have enough support to do so. Our HR services include 3 components. We offer access to unlimited HR consultations. We're a small, dedicated team that can answer any of your HR-related questions. So if you ever have an ongoing issue, you can develop rapport with a person who will support you and manage any of your questions. And our HR services have trainings throughout the year that are HRCI and SHROOM certified. And we also have an online knowledge library with our HR services. And with the $530 maximum weekly benefits here in the state of Michigan, our goal is to help you keep that cost as low as possible. So if you ever lay someone off, we have our reemployment tool. It offers packages that can range from online coaching, interview techniques, and resume writing. Our reemployment services, on average, have helped former employees find a new job 4 weeks faster compared to those that didn't use the tool. It's never fun to let someone go, but at least you can give them the safety net and resources to help them secure a new job faster, which in return can help save your organization more money. And then the protection part is the insurance part of our program. Most of our members take our stop loss protection that helps them during catastrophic claims. And other than catastrophic claims, for managing the general highs and lows of unemployment, we have the trust account. This is a reserve account owned by your organization to help you save and pay for potential claims. So I hope this sparked your interest, and maybe some of you may want to manage your unemployment through us as a reimbursing employer. If you want to look into potential savings, what I would need from you is your 941s or estimated payroll from 2024 to 2025 as a reimburser. And if you are paying into the state tax system, I would need your recent 2026 tax rate notice. And there were a couple of questions that popped up, so I'll answer the ones that I have here. The first one is, does it cost anything for these services? And we do have our trust administrative fees. The pricing is based on the size of your gross annual payroll, and those service fees will also be included in a cost assessment we can do for you. And this question, we're already reimbursing, but how can we calculate our possible state unemployment taxes or state unemployment tax rate when we try to present this state unemployment tax rate as part of employee benefits? So if you're reimbursing already, you don't pay state taxes, but what we can do is create like a proposal that can show what you're currently paying in claims, also the fees of our services to if you were to go with us. And then we can also do like an analysis to see what your expenses would be if you went back to the state tax system, comparing it to what you're currently paying in unemployment as a reimburser. So we would love to provide both options and see where it might be best currently for your organization and how you pay for unemployment. And we're a small nonprofit, under 16 employees. Is being a reimbursing employer a true benefit to us? And if we decided to make a switch to either insurance or the tax route, is that difficult? So they're already reimbursing. What we can do is also do like a cost analysis to help you review what would be the most cost-effective way to manage your unemployment. And also switching back to the state tax system isn't too difficult. And we can also provide more information for your organization or offer different services for your organization, whether you're reimbursing or paying into the state tax system. And this question, we're already self-insuring as well. They have a little over $1 million in payroll. Would it be worth it to join the trust or just still reimburse on our own? And is the trust for smaller organizations? So with our members, they range from payroll less than $1 million all the way up to $100 million. And our services are here to help you reduce that risk of reimbursing with services like our claims management. And then we also have our reserve to help you budget for the highs and lows of unemployment. And also you can benefit from our stop loss protection in any case of catastrophic claims. So we are happy to provide you with a quote if it like the pricing of what it would be like to work with us. All we need is your recent 4 quarters of 941s. And all right, I think that's all the questions I have so far. If you are still typing a question, I will stay on for another minute or so. And then once I log off, I'll send over the follow-up email. It'll include an attachment of the slides, the HRCI shroom credits. And if you have any questions, let me know. This is my contact information, and also feel free to sign up for our YouTube channel and our newsletter for any updates. All right, thank you so much. And if you are still typing a question, you can also save it for the follow-up email, and you will get a recording in the next few hours. Thank you so much and have a great day.